The anime's success has resulted in several movies that featured Ash and his friends encountering legendary Pokémon and often helping to save the world. While these Pokémon movies don't have many fans outside of the franchise, they do their job of entertaining long-term and new fans alike. And on that note, we thought that we would put together a list of the top 10 best Pokémon movies of all time according to IMDb. But of course, just before we do go into the video, if you do like this type of content and you would like to see some more top 10s, be sure to hit that subscribe button and of course, like this video. And all of that said, let's just get straight into it. These are the top 10 best Pokémon movies of all time according to IMDb. Number 10, Pokémon the Movie 2000. When Ash and his friends arrive at the island of Shamuti, he gets roped into their ceremony and told to collect 3 orbs from the nearby island. Unfortunately, a Pokémon collector is in the area, trying to capture the legendary birds Moltres, Zapdos, and Articuno in order to bring out Lugia. His actions cause a disturbance in the natural order, so now it's up to Ash to save the world. While Ash is selected as the chosen one, the film presents a large-scale story, continuing to raise the bar and the stakes for the franchise's theatrical outings. It has some really impressive animation for its time, particularly during the legendary bird battle. This was also the first movie to show a legendary from the up-and-coming games. It's also one of the few movies to give Team Rocket an active role in the plot, as opposed to the majority of the movies that simply features them in the background. Number 9, Pokémon the Movie The Power of Us. Once a year, Fula City holds a festival to give thanks to Lugia, who granted them the power to live in harmony with the wind. Several colourful characters are attending this year's festival, including an ex-runner, a chronic liar, a scientist lacking self-confidence, the mayor's daughter of an older woman who dislikes Pokemon, and of course Ash Ketchum. They meet up and learn to overcome their flaws with the help of Pokemon. The movie's biggest strength is its characters, who take centre stage compared to Ash, which is a rarity when it comes to Pokemon films. Even more rare is when the focus on the new character works so well. Each new character is fleshed out and plays an active role in the plot, unlike other Pokemon movies, where the movie character tends to spout exposition or serve as transportation. This does cause pacing issues in places since they all need to be established, however the payoff is that they all work together pretty well. Number 8, Pokémon Arceus and the Jewel of Life. Arceus and the Jewel of Life easily features some of the highest stakes in any of the Pokemon films, as it acts for the debut for the almighty god of the Pokemon universe, Arceus. In the ancient times, Arceus, the creator of the Pokemon universe, created a jewel from his power to restore the land of its human friend, Damos. When it's time to return the jewel, Damos ends up keeping it, and Arceus swears revenge. In modern times, Arceus has awoken to bring humanity to justice, and it's up to Ash and friends to discover the truth. Since this movie involves the Pokemon equivalent of gods, it's only natural that it presents some powerful themes. And in the process of this film, Damos joins the team to undo the mistakes of her ancestors. It also offers an interesting look into the Pokemon's past, where they were called magical creatures and kept to serve humans instead of being partners. Even without its deeper themes in mind, it makes for an amazing visual spectacle to see one of the most powerful Pokemon of all time gracing the big screen. Number 7, Pokémon The Rise of Darkrai. 100 years ago, the architect of Alamos Town wrote down a poetic dream where he witnessed Dialga and Palkia, 2 Pokémon who control the space and time doing battle. In present day, strange occurrences happened around the town, and the locals blame the shadow Pokemon called Darkrai. As Ash and his friends investigate, the town is swollen into a pocket of dimension created by the Clashing Titans. Rise of Darkrai is Pokemon's first attempt at horror, which it archives with mixed results, being able to excel greatly in terms of visuals and concepts. The atmosphere of the movie reflects classic gothic horror themes, and figuring out Darkrai's allegiance makes for a compelling mystery. This film is though unfortunately squandered by its pacing, which does have a bit too much filler. Number 6, Pokémon the Movie I Choose You. To celebrate the Pokemon's 20th anniversary, their 20th film serves as a reimagining of how Ash became a Pokemon trainer and saw the legendary bird Ho-Oh. Instead of simply repeating the exact same sequence of the events as the beginning of the anime, this film features new aspects and changes throughout the Pokemon's entire history. This time Ash was gifted a rainbow wing from Ho-Oh, meaning that he's destined to face Ho-Oh in battle. With 2 new companions, Ash makes his way to the Rainbow Rock, while a shadowy feature watches his progress. While the film does feature a number of strange elements to it, I Choose You still succeeds by condensing some of the first season's most iconic moments and Ho-Oh into its plot. For the most part, and while it does succeed, the decision to include new companions for Ash over his longtime friends Misty and Brock is questionable. Still, the animation is fantastic, and many of the fight scenes are well paced and well laid out. Number 5. Pokémon the First Movie, Mewtwo Strikes Back. As the title conveys, Pokémon the First Movie, Mewtwo Strikes Back was the first Pokémon movie ever created, and as such holds a special place in the eyes of fans worldwide. Using a fossil of the Pokémon Mew, scientists were able to create Mewtwo, the world's most powerful Pokémon. However, Mewtwo rebels against humanity and sets up an island fortress. It then sends over out invitations to Pokémon trainers, including Ash, to make clones of their Pokémon and prove that the clones are superior to the originals. While this movie is about Pokémon trying to make a clone army, it doesn't shy away from mature themes and imagery, helping it to attain its legacy as one of the best Pokémon movies. Mewtwo's first act is to kill the scientist who created it, and the design of Mewtwo's cloning facility feels inspired by the work of some horror artists. The film also features what is considered by many fans to be one of the most heartbreaking, saddest moments of the Pokémon franchise. The message is also one of the best in the franchise, saying that your actions, and not your origins, are that what defines you. Number 4. Pokémon Mewtwo Returns. A direct sequel to Mewtwo Strikes Back, Mewtwo Returns is a straight-to-TV movie that follows the story of Team Rocket leader Giovanni, who has rediscovered the legendary Pokémon Mewtwo in a remote area of the Johto region. As Giovanni attempts to recapture Mewtwo, it becomes up to Ash and his friends to help Mewtwo in its battle against Team Rocket and to save the clone Pokémon. As one of the few sequels in the Pokémon franchise, Mewtwo Returns had a lot to live up to when it came to following up the original iconic Pokémon movie. Thankfully though, the Pokémon film was able to deliver further on everything that made the original film so great, including the further exploration of Mewtwo as a character and his sparse and complicated relationship with humanity. Especially with just how beloved the original films were considered by fans, it's hard to believe that a straight-to-TV sequel was able to find a way to improve upon the original story and characters. Number 3. Pokémon the Movie Secrets of the Jungle. Pokémon the Movie Secrets of the Jungle makes changes to the standard Pokémon movie formula, which is what makes it easily one of the best. Deep in the jungle, a Zarude discovers a human baby and decides to leave his troop in search for his parents. When later he can't find them, he decides to raise the human as his son and names him Coco. 10 years later though, Coco meets Ash and becomes conflicted about his identity as a human raised by a Pokémon, while an evil scientist tries to harness the jungle's secrets. The bond between Coco and his adoptive father is very strong and presents a fascinating take on fatherhood that isn't seen all too often. It's also one of the few Pokémon films to confirm a character's death without talking down to the audience. While basic at times, it's a film that feels made not just for children, but for hardcore Pokémon fans who have been with the series ever since the very beginning. Number 2. Pokémon Detective Pikachu. Former Pokémon trainer Tim Goodman learns that his estranged father, who works as a police officer in Rhyme City, is presumed dead. While going to his dad's apartment, Tim meets his Pikachu partner, who Tim can somehow understand. Pikachu thinks Tim's dad is still alive, and asks Tim to help him investigate his mission and a dangerous chemical that makes Pokémon feral. Being a live-action studio production, the film is clearly different from any other Pokémon movie, yet different clearly doesn't necessarily mean bad, as the changes were massively beloved by fans and general audiences alike. While Pokémon Detective Pikachu's script can be a little weak at times, the movie's animation is quite simply stunning. The film worked very closely with the Pokémon Company and the character designer associated with the Pokémon franchise to ensure that they got the look that they wanted and the feel of the Pokémon right. The result is creatures that look like they could theoretically exist within the real world while maintaining the iconic designs from the Pokémon video games. Even if the charm and comedy of Ryan Reynolds as Detective Pikachu isn't for everybody, the visuals are genuinely so well made that the film is worth a watch for just that alone. Number 1. Pokémon Lucario and the Mystery of Mew. While attending a festival honoring the night, Ash releases Aaron's Lucario from his staff. Lucario explains that Aaron was the one who trapped him, bringing up doubts about Aaron's honor. Meanwhile, a Mew abducts Pikachu and Team Rocket's Meowth and takes them to its hidden home. This prompts Ash and Lucario to team up and rescue them. While many Pokemon movies are relegated to only be worthwhile to fans of the franchise, Lucario and the Mystery of Mew is one of the very few that definitely stands on its own high quality merits. Lucario's character elevates what would normally be an overall okay movie and transforms it into one of the best Pokemon movies. His inner turmoil over being out of time and doubting his mentor and friend is well paced and builds to a satisfying albeit tragic conclusion. In addition, a fun fact, he's also voiced by the English voice actor for Dragon Ball's Goku. Even aside from its amazing core Pokemon, this is one of the very few Pokemon movies to add depth and importance to the overall story of Ash, delving into a deep look into his drive as a trainer and his legacy as a whole. And so there you pretty much have it. Those were the top 10 best Pokemon movies of all time according to IMDb. So what did you think of this list? Do you agree with this top 10? Or perhaps you feel that there was a Pokemon movie that wasn't on this list that should have been included? If so, do let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comment section below. I would love to hear it. And of course, not forgetting that if you do like this type of content and you would like to see some more top 10s, be sure to hit that subscribe button and of course, like this video. I'll also leave some more Pokemon related content at the end of this video if you would like to check it out. Thanks very much for watching guys, and I will see you all next time.